YouTube, what's going on? Headmaster Rich here, Imperial Kingdom Gaming, where we take beginners to intermediate to advanced players. All right. I've been playing fighting games for nearly a decade, and today I want to share with you some information that's going to really help put things in perspective for you. And that's going to be some fighting game terminology. You're going to need this terminology to progress in your journey and get better at these games so you can actually understand what it is that you are doing. Okay? So, in our last video, we talked about mindset and two different types of mindset, a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. All right? And if you missed that video, you wasn't able to catch it, we'll go ahead and leave the link in the description for you so you can go ahead and check that out. It has very, very valuable information in it. You're definitely going to love it. All right. So today, though, terminology. All right. So fighting game terminology. What are the things you need to know, or what are the terms you need to know in order for you to get started on understanding fighting games and understanding where you are in fighting games? So there's tons and tons of terminology. Hundreds, I would say. But today I want to just highlight 10 of them, and we'll speak about each one briefly. Won't take up too much of your time, but these that I picked out are pretty solid, and I think these are the ones you guys should be focusing on as you start. All right? So let's go ahead and knock out the first one. So when you're starting out in fighting games and you are identifying the terminology, one of the terms you're going to come across is normals. Okay? So normals, what's a normal? All right? A normal is an attack or an action that you execute independently. What I mean by independently, I mean you're attacking or performing your action without pressing directional input. So what does that look like? Let's say you have a D-pad controller, your standard PlayStation controller, and you press X on that controller, right? You just press X by itself. You don't press forward and X. You don't hold back and press X. You just press X by its lonesome, right? And the character will perform whatever action that button is binded to. Like a kick or a punch, right? That would be your normal. So why is this important? Well, as you start to discover information or come across certain types of information, you may see that term. And if you don't understand what it means, then you're not going to know that when they say normals, they're telling you to press a certain attack, right? So not a whole lot to say about normals. It's just that it's an attack button that you press by itself without an input, right? Now that leads us into command normals. Now what's a command normal? A command normal, it sounds a little tricky, but a command normal is pretty simply a button that you press in conjunction with the directional input. So in this case, you are pressing forward in whatever button or backwards in whatever button, right? And when you do that, depending on your character, they will perform an attack, an action. And just think of it like this. Command is like the input giving orders to the attack button. So command normal, when you hear that, think of it as the directions giving commands to the action, the attack buttons. So, and I remember when I started out, I got pretty confused with command normals. My mind just could not really, I understood it was a pretty simple term, but I couldn't wrap my mind around it. It was hard for me to understand it and get it down pat. Considering that not every character has a command normal. So when you hear command normals, like it may not even resonate with you because your character may not even have a command normal. So it just really depends on what your character is able to do, and that hinges on whether you should really know what command normals is. But either way, because we all play different types of characters, we don't just stick to one character. We like to, when you get to exploring matchups, you'll play different characters. So once you come across a character, maybe your character don't have a command normal now, but once you come across a character that does, just know command normal is input plus attack button. All right? So pretty simple stuff. Now, let's talk about something that's a little more complex. Anti-grounds, or as the community likes to say, pokes. Just poke, right? And that one's pretty self-explanatory. Anti-ground, what's an anti-ground? An anti-ground is an action or a button that successfully keeps an opponent away from you on the ground. An opponent that's approaching you on the ground, nothing's going to stop them unless you use some sort of a anti-ground tool. So what does that look like? Zombie evasion, zombies broke into your house, you just grab a broom and you just poking them all back out the door. Yeah, right? Because you don't want to get any close quarters. You don't want to get in close quarters with a zombie, right? Like, close proximity is bad. That's where the zombie's strong, where they're close to you. They're useless when you poking them away with a broomstick. They ain't gonna do nothing. Just like your opponent. Turn your opponent into a zombie. They come towards you, poke them with an anti-ground. See what they do. They just walk forward with their arms out like this. They can't do nothing. That's how you want to think about it when you're using this technique. Think about it like that. You're just keeping out a lethal opponent, a zombie in this case. But an anti-ground or a poke is just a way to keep your opponent out on the ground, right? Very simple. And what makes it the complex part about it would be that not every button a character has is a viable anti-ground. Meaning you may have a character who's very stubby, Ken, Street Fighter. You might have a character who has very stubby normals, right? And those aren't viable anti-grounds. Now, of course, Ken has great anti-grounds. His heavy kick is really good. But and the medium kicks are good. But some characters don't have really good anti-grounds, right? And you'll start to figure that out as you start to play the cast characters in your respective game. So, anti-ground. Oh, and one more thing about anti-grounds. Anti-ground is usually a technique that's dominated by the zoner archetype, right? A zoner will usually have really good anti-grounds. Now that's an example of a character with solid anti-grounds. All right, so we just spoke about anti-ground, right? Next up is our anti-air, which is the jelly to our peanut butter, the anti-ground, okay? And our anti-air, what's an anti-air? Anti-air is when you hold your breath until you pass out. No, I'm just kidding. Don't hold your breath till you pass out. That's not an anti-air. Right, okay. But our anti-air is our technique that keeps the opponent from jumping in at us. Our anti-air is our technique that stops aerial approaches. Right? So, anti-ground was a little easy to understand. But anti-air is a little more complex, I would say. And the reason I say anti-air is much more complex is because anti-airing is something that you don't normally see in any combat interactions in real life. So when an opponent jumps at you in a fighting game, right, that's like very uncanny. That's very unnatural. That's like very strange. That's very bizarre to deal with. It's very hard to deal with. It's difficult because Muhammad Ali is not jumping off the top rope and punching somebody in the face ever. Like, His feet are not leaving the ground ever. Now in the UFC, you might see some crazy fighters, but most fighting interactions in like a street fight, like no one's going to jump 12 feet in the air, flip, and do like some landing thunder kick, dive kick on you. That's just never going to happen. And because we don't have anything to compare it to in real life, when we get jumped on in fighting games, it's difficult for us to react with an anti-air in time because it's just not a natural occurrence. Like you will almost never see in real life an interaction where two forces are fighting and one jumps way higher than the other and lands on the other. Not even kangaroos fight like that. If you ever see two kangaroos fight, you know how they fight? They get on their tails and they kick each other with their legs. They're anti-grounding each other. They are literally anti-grounding. And they're kangaroos, they jump, right? And rabbits are rabbits are not gonna be jumping at each other and like attacking. Like it's just something you don't even see in the animal kingdom. Like it's just not natural. The only comparison we can reliably make, I mean, not the only one, but a strong comparison that we can reliably make is like the military, in which the military has an air force, right? And we have jets and whatnot, and jets or whatever. And you fly your jets over enemy territory and you attack them that way. Like that would be some sort of an aerial like approach, right? And it makes sense because there are literally anti-air military weapons that are designed to knock jets out of the sky. They're literally designed to anti-air jets out the sky. That's their job, right? And tanks do the opposite. They anti-ground on the ground. So the military is a good example of having some anti-air and anti-ground combat capabilities. But outside of the military, like you're not going to really find any other places where one person is jumping at another and it's working. So that's a strong reason why a lot of new players struggle with anti-airs. And I know I definitely struggled with anti-airs, especially in Street Fighter V. When I first encountered how to anti-air, I had to because I was in the jungles of Street Fighter V. I was in the savage jungles of Street Fighter V, just trying to survive. And then out of the nowhere, this feral Blanca, jumping all over me, hit me everywhere. The ape man, the gorilla man, Blanca, green man, the boy that got lost in the jungle and turned into a gorilla. I don't really know his story, but he's wild, is what I'm saying. And yeah, when you don't know how to anti-air, you're falling victim to all of their aerial approaches. I mean, I was getting crossed up by this Blanca, flying all over me. He had me like, I thought I was in a dryer getting tumble dried because I'm in a blender. I don't know where he's going to hit me next. All over me. I turn to my left, he's on my right. I turn to my right, he's on my left. I look behind me, he's in front of me. I close my eyes, I'm still getting hit everywhere. Like, I didn't know what to do because I wasn't aware of anti-airs. And it was unnatural to me. But once you get a hold of anti-airs and know how to use them, they won't feel so unnatural. All right? So that's a few things right there. I think that's about 4 things. Let's do another. So another term that you will come across, and this one is, even when you discover this particular term, just because you discovered it doesn't mean you're going to grasp it. This one is probably going to be one of the most difficult ones to grasp on this list, and that's neutral. So you're going to see a lot of players speaking about neutral as you progress to intermediate from beginner in fighting games, right? So what's the neutral? What is neutral? Neutral is, we'll just keep it very, very simple. The neutral is the mid-screen, the middle of the screen, right? You see me right now, how I am in the middle of the screen of this camera? I'm like in neutral. Now, if I go over here, I'm in the corner, right? If I go over here, I'm in the corner, right? But when I'm here, I return to neutral. Now, neutral is very, very tricky. It will elude you as a beginner. It will elude you as an intermediate. It will elude you as an advanced player. We have advanced players scratching their heads like, what is the neutral? And rightfully so, because the neutral is very difficult to deal with. It's hard enough to play neutral when your life bar is full and your resources are full, you know. And even if you have the advantage, your life bar is full and your opponent's life bar is not halfway full. Their life bar is. It's still hard to play in the mid screen because the mid screen is where momentum is taken and is stolen. I'm sorry, it's where it's earned and where it's taken. Momentum shifts happen primarily in neutral. By the time someone has you in the corner, it's very hard to get the momentum back. The momentum is probably lost for the round. Likewise, if you put someone in a corner, it's going to be hard for them to gain the momentum back from you. The round is probably lost for your opponent as well. And you know, there's a reason why when the round starts, it doesn't start in the corner. And it, like, imagine round start and you are already in the corner. Your back's to the corner. Or round start and you have someone in the corner already. Like, there's just no way for them to like get the momentum back. Like, they probably will lose it as soon as it happens. But in the neutral, in the middle of the screen, both sides have an opportunity to gain the momentum from the other. Now, there's a myriad of ways to do that. But primarily, some of the ways to gain momentum in the neutral is with the aforementioned terms, like our anti-grounds and our anti-airs. I didn't put movement on this list, but movement will be the number one thing that like starts to get the pot going when it comes to gaining momentum. So I'm not going to talk too much about neutral. I'll do that in another video. I have a lot to say about neutral. But for now, as it is for you beginners, neutral, just keep it simple, is the middle of the screen, and that is where momentum is earned and taken. Now, when it comes to fighting games, lots of things are going to be earned and taken from you. However, here at Imperial Kingdom Gaming, we have something that we just want to freely give you. We're going to give you lots of momentum. And the way we plan on doing that is giving you our secrets. What secrets? Ultimate Beginner's Guide Fighting Game Secrets. What's that? That is our free gift to you. Who? To you. Free gift to you. So what's that? That is a PDF that we have that you can just download. And it's going to have all the information you need to get exactly where you need to get to as a beginner, right? And it's a really good, sizable piece of information. It's 45 pages. This is a real guide. Something that even an intermediate or advanced player could take something away from. Very good. So that's our free gift to you. And the way you can get that is to click the link in our channel description or in the description, the link in the description of this video, and it'll take you to the setup to where you can sign up and get your book, right? And you'll be on your way. And you'll have that with you, and whenever you're not in the game, you can be studying up on the game through our guide. And it is 100% beginner friendly, and it will save you hours and hours and hours and years. It will save you years of pain and just spinning your wheels in one location and not going anywhere. You won't waste your time. You'll get your time back. Download our guide. All right? So let's go ahead and move on with the rest of the terms and our terminology. All right. So here's a good one. Reversal. Reversal. You know what's funny? I saw it tonight and read it. Like someone made a post and they said, "I'm new to fighting games. Like, what do I need to know?" And then somebody was like, they helped this person, right? The best they could, right? They was helping the best they could. But they started speaking about invincible reversals. I'm like, why are you speaking about invincible reversals? No. And if so, like, really, like, elaborate on it. Because that person said, what is, in quotations, invincible reversal? So reversal, let's just, here's an example of a reversal. So a reversal, we'll just say what it is. A reversal is a technique that is designed to immediately gain the momentum back during in a moment's notice, at a blink of an eye, right? It's a blink of an eye, just a quick way to get somebody off you. Usually a reversal is in the form of a wake-up option, like an uppercut, or it could be a metered resource, like your supers and your ultimates, something that costs you a resource you have to spend to get that reward of a reversal. So reverse. You're in a bad situation. You're reversing it to be in a good situation. Uno reverse card, right? You play Uno. You know how much you love reverse card. Anybody who's playing Uno is aiming for that reverse card. You trying to get that reverse card. You don't care what color it is. Trying to get the momentum back, right? You're trying to shift the whole flow of the game. So like a real life application that I would like to compare it to so that we can make it easier to digest. Think of a reversal as a mouse trap or a bear trap in which the trap is designed to immediately ensnare whatever steps in it. It is immediately trying to, in a blink of an eye, snap and capture and gain something, right? So if you have a mouse problem and you're trying to reverse the problem in maybe a cost-effective way, then a mouse trap would be one of your ways to do that. Because as soon as the mouse gets in the trap, it snaps so fast, if it's functioning properly, it snaps so fast it catches the mouse before they even realize what happened. The mouse gets snatched up so quickly it thinks it has the cheese and is walking away. It's like having an out-of-body experience. It thinks it's got the cheese and is leaving, but it's actually caught in a trap. A bear trap, if you have some acres of land or whatever, and there's a bear in your area and it's threatening your cattle or your animals, a bear trap is designed to deal with that, reverse the issue of the bear encroaching on your property and causing carnage to your animals or your stocks or your livestock. And the bear trap will immediately ensnare the bear's leg or whichever leg, front or hind, and boom, before the bear even realizes that there's a trap on it, before the bear even realizes it, there's a trap on it. Same thing, the bear steps in the trap, is walking like, wait, I got snapped up. Reversal, right? Think of a reversal as a type of trap. Mouse trap, bear trap, in which it activates in the blink of an eye and it immediately reverses the situation. All right? Won't go too much further on that. So, let's look at our next term on our terminology list. Whiff. What is a whiff? Right? A whiff is what it is. It's missing the mark. So if you whiff, that means you missed your mark. Right? So why is that important in fighting games? It's important in fighting games because when we're in our aforementioned neutral, lots of players, particularly strong players, will intentionally whiff their attack to lure you into a sense of security that, okay, I can now move in and take my turn back, or I can move in and gain momentum, right? Now, obviously, a whiff is like if you trying to hit your target and you attack and you miss, then you whiff. Then that's what it is. That's one way of whiffing, when you try to hit your target and you miss. And that goes without saying. But whiffing, as how most people like to think about it in the community, is when you intentionally miss your attack so that you can lure your opponent in, and the attack that you chose to whiff is recovering so fast that you have another chance to attack. Right? And that's one way to use whiffing in your favor. Yes, so I'm not going to go too much further on whiffing because that's what it is, right? However, we have our next term, whiff punish. So, you see your target, you walk up, you roundhouse kick, you miss. Your opponent hits you before your leg hits the ground and recovers. That's a whiff punish. You just got whiff punished. Vice versa, your opponent pressed the crazy huge button, they missed, and you just saw the Matrix that evening. So when they missed, you made sure that you was like this, far away from the miss. The foot came here, and you was right here. You didn't move. And as soon as that foot retracts, you're ready to punish because you saw the Matrix, and you was ready for it because they're moving slow and you're moving fast. But anyway, when you whiff punish, you're looking to attack your opponent's, counter attack your opponent's missed opportunities. As a beginner, you will have lots of opportunities to whiff punish because lots of beginners are experimenting with the characters and they're pressing all the buttons just to see what happens and what does what. Now, you can take great advantage of this as a beginner if you are able to identify your buttons that can counter a big, huge whiff. And usually when we're talking about whiff punish, even though a character can have like 30 moves, 40 moves, whatever, and Tekken can have 100 moves, you're only trying to use 1 or 2 moves to whiff punish. Not a lot, just like 1 or 2. So, whiff punish, what's that? Is when you counter your opponent's missed opportunity. Okay? So we're winding down. We're winding down on this list. Got 2 left. What's the next one? Bait. Baiting. So what is baiting in fighting games? It's very similar to the intentional whiff. It actually is something, it is a form of bait, whiffing intentionally. But there are others. So what's a common way to bait in fighting games? Or what does like a common bait situation look like in a fighting game? Well, in a fighting game, a common situation is a throw, right? We find our throw button relatively quickly in fighting games, and or we use the throw button very often and very early in fighting games. And if you are the one who just threw somebody, your opponent is going to believe that you're going to continue your offense, or they believe you're going to take advantage of the situation you just gave yourself. Right? You're going to press your offense. Well, you can use that against your opponent. You can psychologically fake them out, make them believe that you're going to be over aggressive and continue your offense, and then wait for them to do something very unsafe in anticipation of you pressing your offense. Right? So let's say you threw your opponent on the ground, and as they're getting up, they think you're going to maybe throw them again. And as they get up, they're pressing a punch button, or they're pressing some button to stop you from grabbing them. They want to jab you away so you don't grab them. A bait in that situation would be you throwing your opponent and anticipating that they're going to wake up with retaliation. And when they do, you block, or you just don't block. You back away, make them miss, and then you come back with like an attack, a whiff punish. Now, there's many ways to bait. That's just like one little common scenario that you'll come across. But that's how it would look like in a fighting game, baiting. Like bait, like when you catch fish, you have your bait. Or in our example we just used with reversal, the mouse trap. So with the mouse trap, typically what we do, or what do people do, you put cheese on the mouse trap, right? To lure the mouse to the trap. That's the bait, right? You're baiting the mouse to come into the trap. So, and you don't really care if the mouse gets the bait. That's not really the point. What you want is the reward. So, not too much more on baiting, other than it's just you, or it's just a situation where you can use your opponent's mind against them, because you don't know what's going to be on their mind when they wake up. But if you know they'll do something, then that's you using your opponent's own psychological warfare against themselves. Right. So let's do one more. And the last one we'll do will be read. So what is a read in fighting games? Or what is a read? It's when I'm trying to say read without saying read in the definition. But a read is when you analyze your opponent's patterns. And not only analyze it, you can anticipate their pattern. So if you have a read on someone in fighting games, then that means you have gathered enough information, enough data to assess that when I do A, they will most certainly or most likely do B. The likelihood is high, right? And vice versa. If someone has a read on you, then they know that when they do A, you are going to most likely do B, because that's what you've been doing up until the point of the match. And an opponent that's paying attention and analyzing your patterns, they're reading you. And you'll see it like all the time in like a match with a commentator. Oh, he read him like a book. He had a good read on the situation. And what the commentator is saying is the player knew that the likelihood was high that the other player would do what they wanted them to do. A bit of conditioning. Okay. So when you're reading your opponent, you have gathered enough data to know what they may do or may not do. Now, there's many, many, many more terms that you're going to come across. And I'll let it cover them all in one sitting. but we simply cannot, right? Normally, I tell you the materials that you need before having a pen and paper. Hopefully, you was able to grab that. If not, do us an even better solid. Go ahead and grab our Ultimate Beginner's Guide Fighting Game Secrets, because it has tons of stuff in it. It's a 45-page book, and it's geared specifically for beginners. It's good enough for even intermediate and advanced players to learn a thing or two from it. So, solid guide. Go ahead and grab that. If you missed something in this video and you're not sure, the guide will do a good job of covering anything that I may not have been able to cover. So, yes. And yes, and be sure to leave questions in the comment section if you are unsure about something. All right? So, tonight, what did you learn in class? You learned 10 terms that you need to get better at fighting games. And not just better at fighting games, to understand fighting games and know exactly where you are in fighting games. Right? So, I'm going to leave you all with this little story. So, I, as a beginner, had no idea what any terms meant at all. I didn't know what a normal was. I didn't know what a anti-air was. I most certainly did not know what neutral was. I was so lost, so confused, I could have called Gary. Like, I did not know where to turn. 1-800-ASK Gary, right? I was like that. Like, is there a 1-800 number I could call to like learn about fighting games? Please, if it is, give me the number. Completely lost. And you could be lost for a long time. And there are still terms that are still like not very clear to even the best players. There are some terms like meaty. I mean, most strong players know what meaty is, but like it's like there are going to be terms that when you hear them, you're just going to not really like know what they mean. Like happy birthday. Like happy birthday in real life is the day you was born. Happy birthday in the fighting game is completely different. You want to wish you was never born. Right? So, lots of terms that we got to cover together, right? And whenever you guys are in need of that type of information, always come back here, return here. We have all the information you need. It's easily digestible. If not, let us know how we can make it even more digestible. I promise you, we are here for you specifically. We are so invested in you all getting stronger in fighting games. 100%. And so, once again, Imperial Kingdom Gaming. I am Headmaster Rich over here at our virtual school. I hope this video helped you all. I hope it was you found something that you liked. If you did, like the video. Subscribe to the video so you can always be up on game on what we're doing. You'll always know what we're doing. And share this with other new beginners who are just looking all over the web, looking all over Reddit, looking everywhere to just try to learn how to play fighting games. Direct them here. This is where they need to be, in class with you. So, once again, I'm Headmaster Rich. I hope this video found you well. Fight the good fight and make it a good fight. And I'll see you all in the next one. Be sure to come on back. All right? Bye-bye.